Today's episode is brought to you by Progressive, where drivers who save by switching save nearly $750 on average. Quote now at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $744 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Thanks for supporting the Fable and Folly Network. Here's another show we know you'll love.
Where am I? Welcome to Desert Skies, traveler. Your journey through the physical plane has come to an end. I am the attendant. My colleague here is the mechanic.
Yo.
This is your last stop on your way to the great beyond. It's our job to make sure you're prepared for the ride. Now, before hitting the road, we have an impressive selection of over 34 varieties of microwavable burritos.
What's going on?
There's gotta be a better afterlife than this. I mean, come on!
That's offensive.
Something seems to be wrong with me.
You left something major undone.
I have a life outside of this gas station, you know.
You quite literally do not.
Any hobbies?
Nope.
Ever travel?
Nope.
Love interest?
Are you kidding?
Oh my god. You're like the human version of a plain bagel.
Cash register.
How can I help you, attendant?
Play some music?
You got it. It's kind of funny, though. What I needed wasn't back there. It was here, waiting for me.
I wonder what it feels like, Mac, to miss the physical plane, the people you left behind.
You know, I had a wife who died 3 years ago.
Wish I could go back.
No, you don't need to go back. You just need to be here.
And a new traveler approaches. Ready, team?
Ready.
Attendant.
Good. Let's do this.
Find Desert Skies wherever you listen to podcasts.
In this world, there are more stories than layups in the NBA. Some are underhanded, some are gimmies, some are fouled. But all are worth the 2 points. So, open up your baskets wide and listen. Welcome to BRUSHTOWN Stories, Episode 16, the leather-bound prestige edition of The Rise and Fall of the Mole Empire, annotated with glitter as related to Melissa Lusk, with variant hologram cover. Melissa Lusk sat on the edge of the couch. She was arranging various colored blocks into a small tower. Her daughter Agnes named each color as she stacked the blocks. It had been a long day, but she was in a good mood. She was writing a new song about a bee that falls in love with a grasshopper, and then the bug couple jointly runs for invertebrate Congress and impeaches the evil roach that runs the government. Maybe it was more than a song. A whole concept album? How many words rhyme with insect? Binsect, dinsect, ginsect? Well, that's done so far. Maybe. Her thoughts of arthropod rhyming were interrupted by her husband Matt, who burst in with takeout from Mr. Big Dumpling. He put the bag on the counter and said, "We have to record the BRUSHTOWN intros and outros." Melissa feigned a smile. "Great," she replied. Her husband had gotten obsessed with referring to moles in the outros. Originally, his writing partner Jonathan was supposed to write the intros and outros, but he had decided he was done writing outros. Jonathan claimed that outros were the belly button of the devil, and he would not dare to poke them. That, or he was just busy at work. Matt wasn't exactly clear, and she hadn't really been listening. But she was pretty sure the words devil and belly button were used in some context. Matt opened the food and handed her a crab rangoon. Crab rangoon, warm afternoon, she thought. Maybe there was a song in that. Maybe the grasshopper eats crab rangoons by the light of the moon. Or, so, Matt said, interrupting her imaginary insect opera. Yes, it was an opera now. So, I was in the library with Agnes for her music class, and I got bored because, babies, they're pretty, I mean, not Agnes, she's the best. Anyway, I went into the dark occult section of the library, and I found this book, Moly Mos of Panopolis. And it's got some nice mole things, for the outro. There was this spell or something. I copied it down, so I thought we could just punch in you doing the spell in the end of the episode. I already recorded an outro, Melissa replied, between bites of rangoon. Yeah, but that was about mole sauce, and it's not even pronounced mole, it's just sort of. It didn't feel authentic, true to the mole spirit, Mole spirit, right, she replied. After their dinner, they put Agnes to bed and got out the microphone. Matt handed her a handwritten copy of the text from that old occult tome. "Ready?" he said. Yeah, let's do this. She started reading the outro. That was weird. Anyway, as the ancient ones once intoned, Molatius Maximol Moltanus Molanus Molo Molo Molo. Suddenly the room around Melissa vanished and she was hurtled through time and space. She was enveloped in a riot of color and abstract shapes, then several melting clocks whizzed by, their hands spinning backwards. And then the universe settled. She was now in a lavender room with giant columns and a fountain. The fountain seemed to be made of jello and wiggled as she walked near it. She was about to touch it when a voice called out, "Don't touch that." She didn't, but being told not to only made her want to touch it more. "Did you enjoy your journey?" the voice asked. "Sure, I guess." "How about those melting clocks? They symbolize time. You probably didn't get that, being so human." "I got it," Melissa curtly replied. "No, I don't think you did. The hands were going backwards because you..." She cut him off. "I got it. Clocks, melting time, backwards, all of it." "Yes, 'cause I explained it. But just to make sure, I need you to sign this document saying you didn't get it. I enter." Then a strange, giant, bald, humanoid sort of creature walked in. It had light blue skin and a second nose on its forehead. The being then made Melissa sign a document saying she didn't understand the clocks. She didn't want to sign, but then the creature informed her that signing the document would give 6 starving birds worms for a month via a charity, and she was all about that. Not because she cared about the starving birds, but because she hated worms. They were so smug. A worm once... It's not worth getting into. But she had her reasons. Serious reasons.
The Fable and Folly Network supports creators of exceptional audio stories, including the one you're listening to right now. If you love our shows, we want to hear from you. Complete our listener survey at fableandfolly.com/survey. This will help us learn more about you, what you like, what you'd like to hear more of, and how we can maintain an inclusive, safe atmosphere. As a thank you for your participation, we have extras and behind-the-scenes content from your favorite shows. Fans make the network what it is. Thanks for listening, and we can't wait to hear from you. Find our listener survey at fableandfolly.com/survey today. Looking to get out of the ads and back to the story? Fable and Folly Plus is a new way to support the creators you love. The podcast you're listening to right now and more than 60 others can be heard ad-free for as little as $4 a month by visiting fableandfolly.com/plus. And now you'll start to see Fable and Folly Network shows are offering bonus content to all existing and new supporters. Find exclusive new episodes from shows like Civilized and Realms of Peril and Glory. Fable and Folly Plus. Sign up today at fableandfolly.com/plus.
She let the deep-seated worm hatred go and looked up at the strange, double-nosed, bald blue creature. It looked nervous. "Are you looking at my cosmic nose?" it asked. It seemed almost offended. No," Melissa lied. "Rather, I was looking at your other nose." Alarmed, the being touched the nose on his forehead. "My upper nose?" "Wait, so that's your regular nose? The cosmic nose is the one where your nose normally is?" "My nose is normally both places. This is going poorly, and it's been so long since we've had visitors." With that, the creature began to cry. Another being walked into the room. It sighed and went to the first being. "We talked about this. Come on, buddy. You're just too raw right now." The second being turned to Melissa. "We are eggling hermaphrodites. That was the way of Earth humanoids before the Hyperboreans meddled with your DNA via the cosmic dreamway. But during our laying cycle, our second nose becomes stuffed with the feelings of the dust of sorrow. So we're easily brought to moo tears. That's what we call tears." "Why don't you just call them tears?" Melissa asked. "Shut up, that's why." Sorry, I didn't mean that," the being replied. "Are you also feeling cosmic emotions beyond my perception?" Melissa asked. "No," the being replied. "I'm just kind of a jerk. But lo! Thanks for visiting us here. The lost continent of Molantis." Whoa, that's where I am? I was reading an ancient spell and yes, the being said excitedly as it interrupted her. That spell brought you here so you could see what once was. You didn't have to interrupt. I must interrupt you, another being said. He then said nothing else. Melissa was about to continue before another being pre-interrupted her, saying, "Did you recite the spell because you were so taken by the fanciful stories and myths of Molantis that you wanted to see our amazing pre-antediluvian civilization?" No, I was doing a dumb podcast," and she trailed off as she noticed more and more of the humanoid creatures walking toward her. One that seemed to be a leader stepped forward. Stupid Matt and his dumb copying spells always getting her whisked away to weird dimensions, she thought. I have things to do! Well, not really, but I could be doing things. She was trying to get enough coins for the skeleton suit in Super Mario Odyssey, that was something. Another being put her hand on her shoulder. "Because you so love us and wished so hard to meet us, your heroes, you were magically transported to this ever-living dream of Molantis." "None of that," Melissa replied. "Rather, my husband. That word is unknown to we, but we do know of the word rubber band. Is a husband like a rubber band?" "Only around pizza bagels," she said with a laugh. They did not get the joke, which was probably because it was too inside baseball about Matt's weird rubber band-like actions around pizza bagels. Actually, on further thought, maybe it wasn't funny at all. Maybe it was a deep-rooted problem that... But Melissa didn't have time to consider this because the being pressed forward with its agenda. "Welcome to Molantis. I am called something that has no equal in your language," it said. "Oh," Melissa replied. "Then what should I call you?" "My name," the being replied. "Something that has no equal in your language. That's my name, something that has no equal in your language." "Oh, your name is something that has no equal in your language." "Yes, something that has no equal in your language," something that has no equal in your language replied, before adding, "It's a family name. Something that has no equal in your language of the Mole Hill, something that has no equal in your languages." "Indeed," another being said. "And what's your name?" Melissa asked the other being. "Tad," it replied. "Now shut your cute as button human mouth and listen to us. Your time in Molantis is short, and we must regale you with our glorious history." And with that, the creature recounted the story of Molantis, and it went a little something like this. "In the ancient days, there was a lost continent between unlost continent of Africa and semi-lost continent of South America. This was a land where moles dug, moles ate, moles shrug. Basically, it had a lot of moles, like 97% moles, but also the first proto-human intelligent beings. They developed a mole-based society, or moleity, but that word eventually fell out of favor due to it being associated with Mole Cola, a failed soft drink that was not good. These pre-humans developed awesome technology like molegraphy, molevision, and the Mole Air and Mole Space Museums. But then the evil Atlanteans came from their other lost supercontinent, Atlantis. The Atlanteans hated the Molantians because they hated moles, and also they were super into like little cookies that were savory like a biscuit, but not. It's hard to describe, like, Have you ever imagined that everything was edible? Like the walls were candy canes and the doors were... No? Me neither. Anyway, Atlantis wanted to destroy Molantian society, and they devised a plan to take the moon from its orbit and explode it so pieces of moon would rain down and crush Molantis. The Atlanteans waited until night, because that was the moon's natural habitat, and flew a chicken-powered rocket loaded with nuclear bombs because Atlanteans had developed both chicken and nuclear weapons. The rocket, or Buk-Buk-Bagam, as it was called by the head scientist, exploded the moon, raining pieces down the Molantians and destroying their world, tossing moles all across the world. And that's how moles spread to all the continents, even the famed Antarctic snow mole. And also pieces of the explosion caused many Molantians to explode, and the pieces of them that splattered across the world stuck on people's bodies and would form moles. In fact, moles are pieces of Molantians that have latched onto your bodies. Also, mole sauce was created during this cataclysmic event, so mole sauce is directly related to moles, even though it's not pronounced the same, but it's authentic and true to the mole spirit. Anyway, then the Atlanteans made a deal with reptoids to hang a hollow balloon where the moon used to be. It was hollow because they couldn't pay for a solid moon balloon. But the Atlanteans then tried not to pay for any of it, so the reptoids sunk Atlantis because of this treachery. They should have remembered the old saying, cheat a reptoid for a replacement moon, you'll end up a goon. Luckily, though, a brilliant Molantian scientist who was also a worrywart created a crystal seashell that would traverse dimensions and a few chosen Molantians. There was a lottery, though there was a scandal about how some winners were picked, but then the loser died, so the lawsuit was dropped. But anyway, the chosen few had their essence sent into the seashell, and then the seashell was punted by the famed Molantian football player Gruff Butkins into another dimension. And the secret teachings of Molantis became only legends and fragmented stories. And a few great alchemists and scholars were able to commune with the lost age, and that's how the spell was written. And via that spell, several great people learned how to visit Molantis and bring its great ideas back to the modern world, like Einstein, Gandhi, and Rich Little. And now you, Melissa. Melissa nodded, trying to act honored. Great, she said. So can I go back now? One of the beings nodded. Yes. You will go back to the moment when you said the spell in this whole lifetime you led, because it took 100 years to tell the story. See, you're old now. One of the beings held up a mirror, and indeed Melissa was old. Her face wrinkled, her hair white. Oh, my back. Kids today with their music in their pants. Oh, my life. Yes, but this whole life will be like a waking dream. Something that has no equal in your language said. Oh, Melissa said. Like that Star Trek TNG episode where they encounter that probe and then Picard has that whole life as Galen and he plays the flute? No, nothing like that, and we never saw that, and it's totally different, one of the beings said as he pushed a strange coin into her hand. Now take this coin as a reminder of all the great things you learned. And with that, she was back in her apartment. She shook the memories off. Was it just a dream? Or a daydream? Or a late afternoon dream? But no, the coin was in her hand. She held it up and it rainbow shimmered in that weird way that roast beef does sometimes. Oh, Matt said, stopping the outro recording. What an amazing ancient coin from a time before time. He then took the coin from her hand, and the perfect size to get caught in Agnes's throat. He then promptly flushed it down the toilet. He watched it go down the bowl. Now that's good parenting, he said. He was quite proud. He also enjoyed watching the toilet flush. It reminded him of Paris. Melissa smiled. Maybe let's lay off the mole stuff for a while, okay? Matt put his hand on her shoulder and smiled. Yeah, okay, he replied. And they lived molefully ever after. That was weird. BRUSHTOWN Stories is a Roy Gold production. It was written by Jonathan Goldberg with music by David Origlieri. Melissa Lusk is me. I'm Melissa Lusk. Find out more about the show and cast at podmusical.com. Find out more about anything other than moles on Season 2 of The Fall of the House of Sunshine, coming early March 2018. Oh, thank goodness. Thanks for listening, and have a suntabulous bicuspid of a day.
The Fable and Folly Network, where fiction producers flourish.